This is my first video, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but someone needs to say it because it's true. Star Wars fans are toxic. And when I say toxic, I mean the absolute worst. Let me just start off by saying that everybody has their own opinion, and that's fine. With that being said, let's get into it. Ever since the prequels came out, Star Wars fans have begun to show their true colors. Like, they're savages. They'll come for anyone with a different opinion, and it's not fair for the people who enjoy the movies. I mean, I understand that people love and cherish Star Wars, but some of you go about it in just such a toxic way. Like, expressing your opinion about the movies or where they're taking the characters and the story, that's fine. But the way people are going about it now is just so not constructive. It's toxic and it's hurting the fandom. It's making all of us look bad. Like, people spewing out all the hate towards the filmmakers and the actors and producers and Kathleen Kennedy and Disney. It's so gross. Sometimes it even makes me ashamed to be a fan of these movies. Well, I've been a Star Wars fan for about as long as I can remember. I remember watching the original trilogy when I was 4, 5 years old maybe, and it was just something that was just so enjoyable. It was enjoyable to talk about Star Wars with other people at one point. Can you believe that? I'm a prequel kid. I grew up with episode 1 through 3. Like, I went and saw them in the theaters. When episode 3 came out, I was like 9 years old. I know obviously it's harder for me to criticize those movies when I saw them at such a young age, but you just have to understand that that's because it's a nostalgia. And I know all you older fans who love the original trilogy have that same nostalgia. People who act like the new movies are garbage, I don't know what to say. The new Star Wars movies are objectively good. Like, I understand all art is subjective, but when it comes to quality, the sequel trilogy is just on top. Like, if you don't like the new movies, that's fine. Don't watch them. If you know you're not gonna enjoy it before you see it, don't go and watch it. Save yourself the money, save yourself the effort, and just stay home. You still have your original trilogy, you still have your EU books. Going and watching the movie and hating it, and then taking it out on all the people who loved it, makes you look like an asshole, bud. I don't care who you are, you're a dick. Point blank period. Now's the part where we talk about The Last Jedi. Don't get me wrong, I don't think The Last Jedi is a perfect movie, but people do not give it enough credit. If Star Wars isn't gonna get old and it's gonna be around for a long time, risks need to be taken. And Rian Johnson is the one person so far who's been willing to take those risks. If the movies just keep rehashing the same plots and formats, it's gonna get old fast. The whole thing with Leia flying through space, yeah, it was kind of weird, but there's no reason for it to be impossible. This is the first movie in a long time where everything feels like a surprise. Like Han dying in The Force Awakens, kind of saw it coming, you know? Like, it wasn't a big shock, it wasn't a huge reveal. There was some foreshadowing that made you feel like that he was gonna die. Or like Luke being an old hermit and feeling like the whole First Order Kylo thing is his fault. That's not out of character for him. If Luke was what all of these so-called fans wanted him to be, like some overpowered hero, then the movie would be unnecessarily bullshit. Luke's arc makes total sense. He's had his adventures, he saved the galaxy, now he just wants to teach everything he's learned to his students. But everything went wrong with Snoke and Kylo, and when he was going to kill Ben, it was because he saw all of the pain that he was going to bring to the galaxy. But the thing is, after igniting the saber, he couldn't do it, just like he couldn't kill his father in Return of the Jedi. It was a beautiful mirror in my eyes. But Kylo used that to justify his turn to the dark, just like Anakin did. He saw the Jedi as corrupt, sort of like Kylo did. Again, another good mirror. And then there's Snoke, the one character that people act like was just thrown out. No, Snoke doesn't need a backstory. Sure, it would be nice to have, but it's not essential to the story. This is something that I think should be handled in other media like books or comics or maybe even a video, but only if the license is taken away from EA. Snoke's just the bad guy, the same way Palpatine was just the bad guy in Empire. Nobody questioned that. Nobody questioned how he came to power. That was never a problem to fans. And Snoke dying, that was my absolute favorite part of this movie. It really shows how Kylo feels about him. After killing his father and still being talked down to by Snoke made him hate him. It made him feel like what he did was for nothing. It was such a shock in the theater. Those are the moments that I live for when going to the movies. It's something Star Wars does so well sometimes. It's the twist and the risk that makes you excited and confused. Things people say about Rey and Daisy Ridley is so messed up. The reveal about Rey and her heritage is dope. Her parents are just some crackheads, and they're dead. Like, I don't understand why everything has to be correlated to your family tree and your heritage. We get that in this movie. People act like we don't have that in Star Wars right now. We have Ben Solo, who comes from this historic family of being powerful and having a huge impact on the galaxy, while Rey comes from nothing. I don't understand why people would be mad about this. Rey is pure and comes from nothing. Kylo has this legacy and he turns out to be a real dick. It's a good foil. It's different. Whole Mary Sue thing. Ugh, God, so dumb. If Rey is a Mary Sue, then so is Anakin and so is Luke. Luke Skywalker blew up the Death Star 5 seconds after he learned about his powers. Anakin Skywalker was born from the Force, destined to be great. Yeah, they trained, but so did Rey. People act like Rey wasn't stranded on a desert by herself for her entire life. She learned how to fight with the staff, which is why she can use a lightsaber. And the whole thing is explained. Darkness rises in the light to meet it, so as Kylo's getting powerful, the Force needs to balance itself, so it gives this power to Rey, emphasizing that anybody can be powerful. It's a beautiful metaphor. I don't understand why people hate it so much. Anyways, enough ranting. I just want people who enjoy Star Wars to be able to enjoy it, and the people who dislike Star Wars to leave. If you don't like it, and you want to make it better, constructive criticism's fine, but hating on these actors and the filmmakers and telling them they ruined your childhood is petty. You're being petty and childish. Grow up. It's a movie franchise, and they're gonna keep making these movies. And if you don't learn to love them, then stop watching them. At the end of the day, I can't tell you how to act. I just say, be a good person and let people enjoy the things that they enjoy without trying to convince them otherwise. Anyways, that's it. That's all I really have to say this time. Subscribe and like and do all that if you want. If not, that's cool too. Bye.